Hello and welcome, all friends and devotees of yoga and Buddhism. We'll continue researching our findings in Venerable Master Singyung's Wisdom Library. Treasures, just wonderful treasures. Treasures upon treasures upon this, I'll call it a library of treasures. Library of wisdom treasures of the great Venerable Master Singyun. He just has this fantastic collection, and I've been delving into these for years, really trying to, it's so hard to say which is the best wisdom or which is they are just wonderful collection of beautiful wisdom here, divine wisdom, fantastic collection. And for those who are visiting, for those who are actually coming to this institute for the first time to stop by and seek wisdom, for those who are not very familiar with who Master Singyung is a world personality, just like the Dalai Lama or Pope Saint John Paul of the Catholic tradition. Master Singyung is the greatest Chinese Buddhist personality today. Master Singyung has he established the Fo Guangsheng Buddhist organization, and of course brought Buddhism to Africa through the Nanhua Foundation, giant foundation in Bronkhorstpoort, Johannesburg, South Africa, and fantastic work they have done. They established the African Buddhist Seminary, which has been teaching with this great objective of teaching Buddhism in Africa to Africans and to non-Africans, to everybody in South Africa. They've done great work down there. Philippines, United States, Canada, England, Australia, just name it, Japan, China. Master Singyung has this Fo Guangsheng all over the world, just building enormously, doing tremendous work in teaching humanistic Buddhism all over the world. So, Master Singyung is such a tremendous giant, and we are so blessed, we are so fortunate that we have such a very enlightened Buddha who lived in our days to try to disseminate Buddhism, and he has really made tremendous effort to teach us this great wisdom. So I've been combing through Master Singyung's libraries. I've been going through his treasures of wisdom, valuable wisdom. I don't know what other beautiful words. Sometimes I use golden to describe them. They are so valuable, so precious. What wonderful wisdom. I mean, you see, when you see things that are so, it's like the British archaeologists who discovered these treasures in Egypt, right? This ancient Tutankhamun, the golden pharaoh. And you can imagine when they found these treasures of this ancient Egyptian mummy, the king, right? Tutankhamun. Some of you have read about this Egyptian king, right? And so they went into this great archaeologist Carter. He went into the tomb, and he went there and he saw golden stuff, all golden stuff. So it's like a dream, and then you really begin to open it. And you had gold and gold. What's in here? Okay, gold is right. Gold. We're talking about pure gold. I mean, pure gold. You know, it's incredible. You can't believe it. You know, they started taking pictures, and this pharaoh, it was all preserved in gold. It was fantastic. I mean, some of you need to study Egyptology and really read these discoveries of Mr. Carter. It was fantastic. And they discovered these treasures of this golden Tutankhamun preserved in pure gold. So this is how Master Singyung's library has been. I mean, I stumbled into this by accident, and I've read Buddhist sutras, okay? Okay, I've read Buddhist sutras, okay? I've been so fortunate, okay? Before I stumbled, like the archaeologists, okay, the British archaeologists who discovered these wonderful treasures of Egyptian, so many archaeologists, they've been there working on this, but then they stumbled into this Tutankhamun, all gold, okay? So I have studied Buddhist sutras for years, right? I studied Buddhist sutras, okay? You study Buddhist Heart Sutra, okay? Just to give you a little bit of what I'm saying. Heart Sutra, okay? I read the Heart Sutra, then Lotus Sutra, then Heart Sutra, Lotus Sutra, Amitabha Sutra. Okay, the sutras of the Buddha, they are fantastic. They give you these dimensions of wisdom. And then you read them, Diamond Sutra. The sutras, you read the sutras, it's fantastic. But then when I stumbled into Master Singyung's special collection, okay, these treasures of gold, what I call the golden wisdom, Master Singyung's library of treasures, which I'm now disseminating to you, believe me. The Buddha's sutras here are of a more generalized description of wisdom. But what Master Singyung is doing here is so wonderful because these things are so direct. You see, any questions you may have about how to live your life from day to day, what issues, how to live amongst people, how to aspire, how to walk towards your objective, how to be a successful person in your business. See, Master Singyung goes into detail. He deals with the issues of today. What do you need to do now, today? How do you go to your work? Approach your wisdom, your family, your wife, your kids. How do you relate? Okay? Every answers for daily living have been addressed here. So valuable. Okay? So Master Singyung goes into detail. In his libraries, you just find these treasures that address any questions you may have directly. So directly addressed. So it's fantastic. So since I discovered it, it's been like these archaeologists, when they ran into this Tutankhamun, they were dazed. They saw all gold. They said, boy, this is what I've been searching for years. And they were so stunned by this discovery. Okay? So here we are now combing through the treasures that Master Singyung has expounded for seekers of wisdom. And when you run into this, it's so particular. See, these are the answers. These are the treasures. These are things we really need to go into. We need to... Now, those people, scholars of wisdom, students of wisdom, people really looking for wisdom, this is wisdom. Master Singyung has a collection of about 270 of them, I discovered. Nearly 300 of them. And these, I just call them golden treasures. I'm not even interested in any other thing anymore. I say, these are the answers. These are the treasures, folks. These are the things. We want to know these things. Okay, people will be looking for wisdom. Here is wisdom. I don't want to know about any other thing. You want to really understand, because here he deals with everything you need to know in this world directly. Master Singyung is such a giant oracle. I don't even want to know about Confucius I Ching anymore. Okay? You see, the issues you may have from day to day, your job, your co-workers, your home, your spouse, your children, Master Singyung addresses these directly in these letters, in these books. So direct. It's even more direct than St. Paul would do in his letters, in his epistles, Corinthians or Romans. You see, St. Paul there came close to what Master Singyung did here. What Master Singyung did here is arguably superior. I won't even read St. Paul right now. Because, see, St. Paul, in those episodes, he went a bit further than Jesus Christ would do. He went into daily living. See, when you come into your home, you have to deal with your spouse. Okay, your kids. St. Paul went into that. Okay, Jesus Christ didn't really necessarily deal with those. Jesus Christ dealt with a broader thing. See, St. Paul went into familiar living. Love. St. Paul started defining love. How a man should deal with his wife with love. How there should be love in the family, a spouse, a wife and a husband. How they should relate, their kids. St. Paul went one step forward more than Christ. Jesus Christ didn't really deal with marital issues. Jesus Christ just gave the law of love. St. Paul went into the home. St. Paul, you have to come into your home and meet your spouse and your kids. And Jesus Christ does not really give any other. You can be loving, and you're right. But St. Paul comes into the relationship. Okay, if any person is intelligent here can really understand what I'm saying. St. Paul goes one giant step further than Christ to go into your marital home and deal with the relationships. Brothers, sisters, father, mother, love is what Jesus Christ is talking about. And here is how the love should work between the man and his wife, between the mother and the kids, between the brother and the sister, between the father and the daughter. St. Paul goes into the home to bring down into clarity what Jesus Christ was talking about, which is love. Okay? Master Singyung is even more complicated than that. Singyung goes into what you should do on your job, how you should relate to your colleagues, what you should do at home, how you should relate with your siblings. They go straight, how you should deal with your success, what you should do in class, in school, okay, in your office, on your job. Master Singyung answers everything we should do in, see, the bureaucratic setup, the offices, the homes, okay, daily living. What do I do at noon, at 12 o'clock? I'm late for work. What should I do? Okay, Master Singyung goes into this analysis. Really greatly interests me. It's so wonderful. He answers. There is no question you will have about living today, what you need to do today that Master Singyung has not dealt with here. He just dealt with living as it is in year 2000. Okay, he brought the Buddhist wisdom of 500 BC to the year 2000, to our day, our life today, and brings it into, perfection as it should be today. Master Singyung is Gautama Siddhartha of the year 2000. As Gautama Siddhartha will sit today and instruct you today how you should live today in the year 2000, this is what Master Singyung does. He answers every question we have today. What I should do on my job, he tells me clearly. What I should do at home with my wife, he tells me clearly. What I should do with my kids, clearly. So Master Singyung teaches you how to live with perfect wisdom. You have no question. And if you follow his teachings precisely, there is no cloud. Everything is crystal clear, clarity. You should be able to live successfully. So we now become ambassadors of the letters. If I may give a better description of what I'm saying. We have responsibility of the letters. Everywhere you go, you are now an ambassador of the writings, ambassador of the letters. Your fear is the letters. Your responsibility is the letters. Wait, those letters, because we have been told. You can't say, oh, I don't know. You have been told. You know. We are now knowledgeable people with responsibility. This is how I go about my business. Oh, I know. We are ambassadors. We couldn't be misrepresenting the letters because we know. So you now have the responsibility. It's no longer what do I do. You already know what to do. You have been told. It's in writing. So we are now ambassadors of the letters. It's now a matter of I'm afraid when I go back to the letters, I hope I'll find peace and happiness. My father has told me what to do today in school. I hope I better do my homework because my father is going to be checking later on. My mom is going to be checking later on. They already told me what to do when I get to school. So this is how it is. So we are responsible. You are now ambassador. You are being told everything. There is no more. You've been told what to do. You already know what to do in every situation. There is no more excuses. You are now ambassadors. You are responsible for carrying the letters into action. And you better not fail. You see? So you now know what to do. Anywhere you are now thinking, I hope we are not misrepresenting, because you have been told. When children go to school, they remember what their parents told them. They don't want to misrepresent the instructions from the parents. Master Singyung has told us he has answered all questions we have about every issue about how we need to succeed. So your responsibility, you are now responsible. You are now, everywhere you go, you're no longer in the clouds. You are now thinking, we know what to do already. I hope I'm not misrepresenting. You have to go back to the books today. Just as when we're kids, you have to go back home to your parents. You see, you always have to go back to the letters, and I hope we've not misrepresented, we've not missed any point. You've been told everything already. Okay? So, what's the wisdom of the moment? Now, Master Singyung says here, he instructs us, we should have strength. But it does not mean we use it to punch or intimidate others. The greatest strength comes from within, for it is the strength of self-control and self-management. The following are some keys to self-control. 1, these are the golden treasures. These are the things I'm telling you. Once you've heard, you now become an ambassador. You see, you are responsible for executing what you've heard. You are responsible for accomplishing what you've heard, because you've heard. You have no questions that are unanswered. Okay? So it's now for you to go out there and do the instructions of dad and mom, what you were told at home. Go to school, sit in class, read your notes. It's now your responsibility to go read your notes, pass your tests, pass your examinations, don't fail and come back here. Because your parent will not take it lightly with you. If you went to school and failed out of negligence and came back. So that's what Master Singyung is doing. He has answered everything we have to do in life. 270 volumes here. And that's what I've been delving into his collection, into the libraries. That's what I'm now disseminating to you. Okay? And then you are now responsible. You've heard, you've been told. It is now your responsibility not to go out there and fail in what you've been told. You are now an ambassador. You are now a representative of the great wisdom which has been given to you. It's now your responsibility not to go out there and mess up, but to represent correctly the instructions, carry it out correctly to success. Okay? 1, do not be biased. Do not be so biased as to confuse right with wrong. The ancients despised slanderers, coining the saying, slanderers ruin scholars, from the innumerable incidents of righteous scholars framed through slander. If we only believe what we hear and not use our eyes to observe, it will be easy for us to be deceived by the crooked. Many scams and hoaxes that exploit the biases of people appear in the media. This is why Buddhism stresses right belief in the Noble Eightfold Path, which comes from discerning the truth in what we hear by being mindful, non-judgmental, and thorough as listeners, for only then are we assured of making progress on the clear and correct track. 2, do not act so impulsively as to be unstable. It is easy for us to indulge in our emotions by following our changing moods with little or no regard for circumstances. Some people do not rejoice or mourn with others when they should. In fact, their self-indulgence only reflects a lack of self-control and self-management. The Buddha taught his disciples not to get shot by the second arrow, meaning not creating more unwholesome karma from our ignorance and delusion, because it will cause us even more suffering. The Art of War by Sun Tzu says, a commander-in-chief cannot mobilize troops out of rage. A general cannot wage a war out of anger. Sun Tzu's attitude is wise and reasonable, because if a battle is fought in anger, the strategy will probably be wrong and will result in a loss of too many lives. Therefore, we should never act on the impulse of anger. See how fantastic these teachings are. They are so good because they come into the contemporary, into the modern. They deal with the present, as opposed to people thinking maybe Buddhism was some ancient lost tradition that was taught 2,500 years ago by one person from India called Gautama Siddhartha the Buddha. No, we all have questions. I personally, Christopher Oseodian Aburime, I had questions of my life. How should I conduct myself? What do I do at home? What do I do at work? How should I move my steps? How should I deal with neighbors? How should I deal with people, colleagues, friends, foes, challengers, everybody you meet in society, male, female, boy, brothers, sisters, father, mother, everybody around. We feel 7 billion people, okay? Human beings all around the world. How do we treat all these gods and men, deities? Every day you see all kinds of beings around you. How should we conduct ourselves to live the best possible life that we can live? All these answers is what I'm reading to you now. Master Xing Yun gives us a very concise, excellent, detailed instructions of what we should do in year 2019, every blessed day. He's very precise. And so I'm so challenged. That's why I read, since I discovered this library, I still read the Buddhist sutras though. I still, but it's so hard now. Right? So hard, for me to even read the sutras of the Buddha. Because Master Xing Yun comes into our lives to answer the questions you have today. Do you understand where I'm coming from? People have questions today about relationships, their spouses, their kids. These are issues that human beings have. Okay, Master Xing Yun is alive. He's 90-something years old. He's a contemporary scholar. He lived today. He addresses you today, what to do today. This is very important for all of us. It's not like Bible reading the Bible. I've read the Bible. Okay? And it addresses these things just like Buddhist sutras. They address your life, but from some distance. It doesn't tell you what to do when you come into your house. Right? It doesn't tell you what to do when you go to work. There are so many problems. We human beings, we all know the problems we have in our lives. We all have questions. I'm so happy with Master Xing Yun. So happy. He just gives me peace and happiness and joy in my heart, because he answers the questions I have in my life. I have no question at this time about life. And all you, my students, this is exactly how you should be. You should be without question. You should have precise answers, guidance that tells you what to do, roadmap that tells you how to get from New York to Washington, from Lagos to Abuja. It tells you how to get from point A to point B. Do you understand? That's what I'm saying. People will argue that this is in the Bible or it's in the sutras. No, if you students arguing that, those are the fools and idiots who don't know what we are talking about. And their folly and their idiocy, they cannot be helped in such situations. So the best is to leave them in their stupidity. Let them continue rambling around. Okay? But for those of you who come to my institute, you can see how happy I am. I have gold in my hand, treasures. And the way I'm instructing you, you know that this is definitely true. I'm absolutely very confident about what I have. I'm not talking about Bibles. I'm telling you that I'm having difficulty reading Buddhist sutras right now. Having difficulty because Gautama Siddhartha is not here to tell me what he's talking about in the Heart Sutras and telling me Gautama Siddhartha, who lived 2,500 years ago, is not here to tell me, look, when you're going to work tomorrow, go to work, this is what you should do. This is how you should speed up your job. This is how you should get a promotion, or this is how you should get more money. Okay, in America, this is what you should do, right? Gautama Siddhartha is not here. Master Singyung is here right now, and he did the job. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. You're so happy. I'm so filled with joy. I think about Master Singyung with so much joy because Master Singyung goes into the detailed problems we have in life and solves them directly for us, so that every question you have when you rise from your bed in the morning, Master Singyung Christopher Aburime is speaking right now, teaching students, addresses your questions precisely. Listen to this third one. Listen to the third golden key and see if there are direct answers. There are. Do not be so arrogant as to denigrate others. Okay? So you quickly listen. Do not be so arrogant as to denigrate others. These are direct instructions of today, of now. Follow them right now so you can succeed in your business. Listen to the next one. Some people consider themselves persuasive, capable, and resourceful. So they are so arrogant and enjoy showing off their skills. Don't they sound like things you see every day around you? Of course. These are things you see. You have to deal with these things, right? He's telling you right now. However, they fail to realize that by being self-righteous and conceited, they are actually exposing their shortcomings. They forget the saying, heaven will not speak of his height, nor earth his depth. The depth of magnanimity is profound indeed. Master Singyung tells you these things so that when you go to work and you see these things you see in people today, it's not that the Buddha didn't talk about those things. But Master Singyung addresses the issues of the year 2019, 2020. Do you understand? The third millennium. He addresses the issues of today, which Gautama Siddhartha, as a seer, could have visualized and dealt with 2,500 years ago. For instance, human beings, you all need to live in compassion. Be compassionate to yourselves. Jesus Christ says, love your neighbors as you love yourself. These people, they've dealt with the issues. Do we need to love our neighbor as we love ourselves today? Yes. Do we need to be compassionate and kind to ourselves? Yes. So Gautama Siddhartha or Jesus Christ, they've said the same thing. But those are general answers. That doesn't tell you what to do on the job. What I just read, does it tell you about what you see in your workplaces or at your homes or on the streets? Yes, it's more direct. See, Master Singyung goes so direct. He goes directly into your daily, affairs and tells you how to deal with what you see every day, so much that I have no questions left. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I told you about Tutankhamun, the gold, and those archaeologists. When I stumbled into this library, I was challenged. I could no longer even read Buddhist sutras, because this library of the great Master Singyung had every answer that I need to know for the rest of my life that deals with issues of today. This is a contemporary Buddha that lived today in my lifetime. And he went into little issues of today, analysis, and analyzed and solved all the problems we had to deal with today. Do you understand? Now listen to the fourth one. Do not be so ignorant as to envy the ability of others. Right? These are things we see, the problems we deal with right now. Some incapable people are jealous of the capabilities of others. Consequently, they obstruct others from accomplishing things that they themselves cannot do. When they fail to make gains, they do not want others to benefit either. See? Such mentality lacks self-knowledge. Because of their jealousy of others' talents, they fail to learn from the experience of others and thus cannot gain anything themselves. See? Let's spoil it all. Because I can't get it, let's spoil everything. Let nobody else get it. That is not the kind of things you see in the world today. Of course these are. That's what Master Singyun is saying. If I try to compete for something and I'm not able to get it, well, I should be able to help the next person who might have the capabilities, the capacities, the talents, or the qualifications to get there. I should support him, not spoil it all because I couldn't get that. Do you see what I'm saying? Listen carefully to what the great master is telling us. Okay? There are many examples in Chinese history where jealousy ended in tragedy. The great legalist philosophers Han Fei and Li Si both fell victim to their mutual envy. On the other hand, Tang Dynasty poet Li Bai was generous in praising the work of his contemporaries, and in so doing became a legend in history. These are indeed worthy lessons for future generations. And of course, the great master summarizes. Confucianism teaches self-control through reviving the rights. The strength of self-control leads to harmonious and peaceful exchanges in human relationships. We should therefore be mindful of our obstructive tendencies in nurturing self-control. Self-control is the golden key to accomplishing success in life. Namo Amitofo.